Hi, this is Nikki from Nana's Quilt Cottage. Well, it's part 2 of our Sew Together bag. This is a great fun bag to make, whether you're making it for yourself or for a friend. It's a lot of fun to go through all the process and the steps to make this great bag. What makes this bag so fun is all the neat pockets inside. So you'll see it has not just one, but 1, 2, 3 pockets inside, plus dividers and sections where you can put other fun things. Whether you put sewing stuff inside or you put makeup, glasses, jewelry, whatever you choose to put inside of it, paintbrushes, pencils, it's your choice. So this is part 2 of our video. You may have seen our first video where we started out and we did some of the basic beginning construction. Today we're going to go in and make the pockets and actually start getting these dividers actually put together. So we're going to sew the pockets together, and then we're going to actually put these side bat wings on. So it's going to be a lot of fun. You may remember that my fabric that I'm using has kind of a steampunk feel on the outside and bright and happy on the inside. All right, so again, to do what I'm doing on this one, you'll need to purchase a copy of the pattern. The pattern is created by Demented, and we carry that here in our store at Nana's Quilt Cottage, or you can purchase it from your favorite quilt shop. So join me as we work on this. So what we did last time before we finished is we had our bag like this. We had sewn all the panels together, and we have all of the pocket pieces inside with the zippers. We changed out our pulls, which made it a lot of fun because that just adds an extra little design element to it. And again, if you watch my first video, you'll see the changes I made to the pattern. They're very simple and they're not things you have to do, it's just what we chose to do on it. All right, so next thing we need to do is, according to the pattern, it tells us that we need to make a line a certain distance from the zipper so that we know how far to sew over to enclose our pockets. So I've already put 2 of those lines. So I took my ruler and I lined it up with the measurement right on the zipper, and then I made my line. So I've done 2 of those. I need to do 1 more. Now to make your lines, what I suggest to use is either use a friction marker or pen. So this is the friction ballpoint pen. We also carry the markers in a fine pen, fine liner, or in the regular felt tip marker. So what's neat about these is you make the lines, and when you iron them, they go away. So we could use the fine liner marker, or you could use the clover wheel. What's neat about this, I'll show you on this piece of fabric here, is you just run it down and it makes a line. I'm gonna make some lines, okay? So it's a wheel, it's a chalk wheel, and it has porcelain in it, so it doesn't dust off super easy, but it can dust off very, after just rubbing it a little bit. The difference between this one and the traditional ones is you barely touch it and your lines go away. This one you actually have to kind of rub it a little bit and make your lines go away. Damp cloth will completely take it off. The friction comes off again if you iron it. So I really like to use these. We have these in multiple colors. They're a lot of fun to use. If you ever have that problem of that white shadow, so say you draw the line, especially on batiks and solids, we see this. So say you draw the line and you ironed it, but then you've got this little white shadow. You can see exactly where that line was, and it's driving you crazy, right? Just spray a little Best Press on it, and the alcohol in the Best Press will take out that line. So that's a great tip to use whenever you're using one of these pens or markers. People are like, oh, it leaves a shadow. Oh, when it gets cold, I get my line back. Not likely. You may get the line back, but that's because there's residual ink in there, and if you just use a little Best Press or alcohol, it'll take it right away. All right, so a lot of fun there to use those pins. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use the measurements in my pattern, and I'm going to line up that measurement on the center of my zipper, use my pin here, and I'm just going to make a line on my fabric so I know exactly where to sew. I love it that we have so many different neat tools that we can use with our sewing nowadays to just kind of make some different, it makes it a little easier. They're just little tools that help make things easier. Do you have to have them? Nope. You could use other things. You could mark this. You could even just use, I used this the other day to poke out the bat wings. This right here is like a henna marker. And so what you can do is press real hard and it'll make a crease. So you could do the same thing with this. Run your ruler and run this down and make a crease. That's an option as well. All right, so what we're gonna do, we've got the lines. You can see my lines on there. So I'm just gonna start with the first one. I'm gonna grab it at the zipper And I've got my wrong sides together. So you can see there's the pocket linings in there. And they're pretty to pretty in there. But the wrong sides are together of my main lining pieces. So I'm gonna make sure that zipper is nice and flush. And I'm gonna grab a couple of my Wonder Clips. Okay. And I'm gonna clip these on the sides. Oops, I'm gonna clip through all the layers. Okay, and I wanna make sure my sides stay nice and lined up. So I've got one clip above my line and one clip below my line. My line's on this side so you can see my line. There's my line. I'll turn it this way so you can see it. Okay, that's the line I'm using right now. So one clip above, one clip below. Okay, so there's my line I'm gonna sew on, all right? So I'm gonna use my regular 2.0 stitch length on this and I'm gonna sew right on the line. And what this is going to do, oh, and I unthreaded my machine, look at that. What this is going to do is it's gonna close off that pocket. I'll show you what I mean in a moment. Okay, let's thread this machine back. I'm using coordinating thread, so I've been using that soft yellow on all these pieces because I have a lot of different colors going on. So I'm using a soft yellow on here, both in my bobbin and on my top thread. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna sew on that line. And here I'm gonna do a little back tack when I start. And I'm using a 2.0 stitch length. I have to take my shoe off. I sew without my shoe. I don't know about you. Now I drive with my shoes on, of course, but when I drive my sewing machine, no shoes. All right, so I'm just gonna sew across right on that line that I drew. And I can kind of feel, so if this got any kind of bubbles in it or anything, then I would be able to feel that and be able to smooth that out before I got to it. Because we pressed everything and top stitched, we shouldn't have any bubbles. All right. Okay, first one's done. I'll take my clips off. Okay, so now we've sewn that, and you can see the extra little parts of it are sticking out the bottom, okay? And they're pretty lined up. They're pretty good, okay? So what this has done is it has enclosed. Now, of course, this is still open on the sides, but the bottom of my pocket is closed, okay? So after we get done sewing all of them, we're gonna go back and we're gonna trim this out and just leave a 1/4 inch inside of here. So we'll just go trim, 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 okay? But I'm gonna do that same thing 2 more times because I have 3 pockets. Okay, so again, I line up the zipper right here at the very top, make sure my pocket pieces inside are nice and smooth going down. And I'm gonna put a Wonder Clip here at the top, close to the zipper, and one right below my line. And I'm making sure the edges stay nice and lined up. I don't want them to creep on me. I'm gonna get threads on me. Okay, same thing on the other side. So put a clip, boop, and one more clip. I like to make noises, so I have like sound effects when I sew. A lot of people tease me about it. They think it's kind of funny, but I don't know, just what I do. All right, so I'm gonna take that first clip off so I can actually get in here. And I'm gonna sew on my line just like before. Do a little back tack, doesn't hurt. I'm just gonna go all the way across on my line. Now don't get it all wrapped up in being exact. If you vary just a slight bit on your line, it's okay. Because remember, we're gonna iron it, and so nobody's even gonna know where the line was. So if you're slightly off, that's fine. The important thing is that on the inside, we've caught both parts of that pocket. Okay. Back this one off and let's check it out. Okay, there it is. There's the next one. It's right there. It's the orange one. Got a little extra sticking out, which is what we anticipate. They give you, in the pattern, how she wrote it was anticipating you to have some grace there because we all sew with a little bit different seam allowances, and she wanted to make sure that everyone was successful. Okay, last one. Again, get that zipper lined up the top. Pocket linings nice and smooth inside. Lining up my edges in here. I don't want to have it wobbly. So line up my edges. Put my clip on below my line. Same thing on this side. Okay. And move it below my line. Okay, there we go. So it's clipped and ready to sew that last one. All the way down. Okay. Cut that one off. Take my clips off and let's check it. Last one. Yep, it's good. So we have all 3 of them sewn now. So this is what it looks like now. Okay, we've got a clip still in there. Okay, and then we've got this little bit sticking out in the inside. Okay, so we're going to trim that down so it's only 1/4 inch on all those. Okay, so I'm going to go through, trim each one. So it's only 1/4 inch, and it doesn't need to be perfect. You're just reducing bulk is why we're doing this. Okay. Now, if you don't have 2 layers of fabric right here, then that means you got your pocket is caught up in there, and you'll need to go back in there and fix that. That was a really bad hack job right there, but nobody's gonna see it. These scissors are meant for thread. They're not really meant to cut fabric, so they take a little extra work to make them work for fabric. Okay, there we go. So I got those all trimmed out. I'm gonna throw them in my trash can here. And we're set to go. So now what we need to do is we need to sew the sides of our pocket shut, okay? So how we're gonna do that, first I'm gonna trim off all the little extra hoo-ha here, is I'm gonna trim off the extra part of my zipper so it's flush, okay? So I trim that off. Now I'm gonna sew from the top here, from the very top, just right underneath my teeth, all the way down to the line that I just sewed, not past it, just to the line and stop. Do a little back tack if you want to. We want to sew this with a little less than 1/4 inch, okay? So we want to keep it small because we're going to stuff the sides in the bat wings in a few minutes, okay? So we're just going to sew down close to the edge, a little less than 1/4, all the way down. I'm using a 2.0 stitch length. I'm just closing up the sides of my pocket, and this makes the next step easier. But I'm only going down to the line I sewed, not any farther. Okay, little back tack. I'll hold this up so you can see it. Trim all my little threads off. Okay, so you can see I just sewed really close to the edge there. Okay, I started at the base of the, right there underneath the zipper teeth and went down to my line and stopped. I did not pass my line. Okay, so I'm gonna do that same thing on the other side, but here's the thing. When I do the other side, I need to pull the zipper back, okay? So pull that zipper back, and you don't want it to separate on you, so then you're gonna take a Wonder Clip and clip it, okay, so it stays. Okay, let me turn my Wonder Clip around so you can see it. See? Wonder Clip on there, okay? Then I'm gonna trim the edge of my zipper off, my zipper tape, so it's flush with the edge, okay? Here's my zipper pull all the way back here. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna sew now. Start right underneath the teeth, a little less than 1/4 inch from the edge of the fabric, keeping all my edges lined up, and right to my line, no farther. Okay, and I did not sew. I ran out of bobbin. Well, hornswoggle. No, I had bobbin, it just broke. That's a surprise. I thought I had enough bobbin. So, not a problem. Just gonna get my bobbin back out. What probably happens is I cut it too short when I cut it a moment ago. Okay, same thing again. Little less than 1/4 inch from the edge, right underneath the zipper teeth. We're going to sew all the way down to our line, but not past it. Okay. All right, that worked that time. Okay, so there's that one sewn. You can see it there, how that one's sewn. Okay, so do the same thing on the others. Okay, just gonna work through all of them till we get them all sewn up. Okay, again, trim off the edge of my zipper tape. I'm on the side without the pull right now. Okay, and we're gonna sew down this side. 2.0 stitch length starting underneath the zipper teeth, a little less than 1/4 inch from the edge. Do the same thing 6 times. Don't pass the line. Okay. All right. Now on this side, we're going to pull that zipper pull back. Okay. And then we're going to put the Wonder Clip on it to hold it together. All right, trim it off even. Okay, ready to go. Oops, I went right on the zipper teeth. Close, but not quite. Okay, there we go. All the way down. All right. So there's that one. All done, okay? One more to go. All right, trim it off even. Just start right underneath. That one. Okay, and last one, pull my zipper, pull back, put my clip on, trim off my edge. Gotta scoot my clip over just a smidge. Okay, there we go. Okay, that part's done. Yay. All right, so now we have all the sides of our pockets sewn up. So if we opened up any of these, they're totally closed now, okay? All right, so next thing we're going to do is our piece. Oh, look how pretty it is. Okay, we're gonna take our bat wings. So remember we prepped these earlier in the last video. We got our bat wings ready to go. That's my exterior, that's my lining. So on the bat wings, the first thing you're gonna do is gonna fold it in half with the inside in and the exterior out, and you're gonna press a nice crease in here. Now I used this product here, this is called Flatter. So when I'm making a lot of my quilt blocks and stuff and I want them to lay nice and flat, I use this product. So I just sprayed just a little bit of this right here on the edge and I pressed it, and that makes it hold a really nice crease. I can use Best Press as well. Either one of those products will work well, just to give me a good crease and hold it, okay? After I do that, I'm gonna look at my pattern piece, and you can see this line that's on here. So that's gonna tell us where our next fold needs to be. So all I did is I laid my bat wing up against the pattern piece, right? Laid it on here, boop, boop. And then I took a pin and I put it in right at the line that is on the pattern piece. So see there's a line there? So I matched that up and I put a pin in there, okay? And then I put a pin on the opposite side as well. I didn't pin through both sides, okay? So I put 2 pins in there, right? That's going to show me where I need to go over the iron and fold again and press. Okay, again, I used a little bit of the flatter on there, sprayed a little bit, and then pressed. I didn't press over so far that I got rid of my center crease. I just wanted to get this little crease in. So now I have 3 creases in my fabric. Okay, so 3 folds. I'm going to do that to both bat wings. Okay, so you can see I have my little creases. They do look like bats. Okay, all right, so both of those are done. All right, now comes the fun part. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with the center one. This is my lining, goes toward my lining. I'm going to start with the center one. I'm going to line this up right at that line that I sewed, not past it. Okay, so I'm going to line it up right here against my line, and I'm going to make sure everything's stuffed in here nice and tight into my fold. Okay, make sure it's nice and stuffed, and it will stick up a little past the edge of your zipper. Can you see that? It sticks up past my zipper. You can see my zipper, here we go, down in there. Okay, that's supposed to be. The important thing is keeping it lined up with your line on the bottom. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put 2 clips on here, kind of close together, but I have it stuffed into that fold, just really crammed in there. Okay, so I'm going to change my thread color, and I'm going to put dark thread in both my top thread and my bobbin. Okay, because I need to now sew the exterior. I thought I had some brown out. Okay, let me change my bobbin. I got some brown here for the bobbin. Oops, I have threads all over me. All right, so I'm going to grab some thread, change out my bobbin. I want my bobbin to match because I want my stitching to kind of be invisible. So when we use matching thread, it makes our stitching kind of invisible. Because maybe you don't get it perfectly straight every time. I don't. But it also looks more professional when it matches. Okay? All right. Grab my thread. Here, I'm using a brown variegated thread on mine because this is kind of got a steampunk charcoal, gold, brown mix up on here. So that's the color thread I'm using. Before I was using the soft yellow. All right. I don't know about you, but I've got all kinds of colors of thread so that I can match my project. I sew with Gutermann, Signature, King Tut, and Orfil. So I sew with a whole bunch of different ones. I'm not just to one brand. I don't sew with Coats and Clark. Not that it's bad or anything, it's just, it's too linty for me. I prefer to sew with Gutermann, King Tut, or Orfil or Signature. Those are the 4 I use the most. I do have a couple Coats and Clark. Sometimes you just gotta have for the color, but I prefer the others because they're less linty. All right, so here we go. But there are so many great threads out there and so many colors. You know, in the store, we carry 3 different brands of thread. Why? Because we want all the great colors. And no thread company has all the colors. So by having 3 different kinds, all the same weight, we are able to get more of a variety of colors. Okay, so I have everything loaded up. I've got my thread in here. Okay, so we're just gonna do these one at a time. So now we're gonna do a healthy 1/4 inch seam. So I'm gonna go ahead and move my needle over. I want it over just a smidge, and I want to make sure I'm going to go down over to almost like a 2.5 stitch length. Okay, because I'm going through a lot of layers, and if I get it too small, it's just going to get knotted up and not look as nice. So I'm going to go a little bigger. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, I can feel the edge, but I'm actually going to start at the bottom. Okay, let me flip my clips over. I'm going to start at the bottom here, and I'm going to sew from the bottom up. And then right when I get to the edge of that zipper, I'm going to do a little back tack there, okay, because I really want to hold that there. But I don't need to go all the way up to the top of my fabric. I just want to go past the teeth, but do a little back tack so you catch those teeth edges, okay? Because we don't want our zipper pull coming off later. Okay, so I got a nice healthy 1/4 inch on here. and I'm starting right at my line, not past it. That's important. Okay, back tack right at the start, but not crossing that line. Okay, and I get up here, I can feel where that zipper tape is. I go right past it, back tack it. I'm actually going to back tack it twice. All right, I'll hold this up so you can see it. Trim my threads. I don't know if you can see that because the color thread matches so well. You can kind of see it right there, okay? You can see on this side a little bit. See my line of stitching? Okay, it doesn't go all the way to the top, okay, but it just crosses over the teeth, okay? So that's the first one. That was in the center, okay? So you see that's the center one. So now I'm gonna go to the next one and I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna line up the edge of it with the line that I sewed in there a little while ago. Okay, get that lined up. I want that bottom of this fabric right with that line. I'm going to stuff everything in, make sure it's nice and tight, and put my clips on. Okay, there they go. Okay, now it might take a little bit of finagling. I've got to get this out of the way underneath, but I don't want to move it so much that it pulls it out of being tucked in. Okay, so it takes, like I said, a little finagling, but it'll work. Starting right at my line, not past it. All the way up past the teeth and do a double back tack. So like I said, I'm making this one for a friend because I already own a few. So I'll be excited when I give it to her. She'll be excited to have it. Okay, so there's the next one. Yes, I know there's a hole here. That's okay, okay? I know there's a hole. There's supposed to be. We're gonna close it later, okay? So there's the first two done. Okay, first two are done. Last one here, same process. Line up the bottom of the bat wing with the bottom edge of the line we sewed earlier. Stuff it in nice and tight. Get my clips on. Stuff, 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 stuff. Stuff, stuff. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to sew this one. Starting right at the line and not past it. Yes, I say the same thing because I want you to make sure you got that. It's important. Okay, right past the teeth, double back tack. Okay. Trim my threads. Now I'm using this brown variegated, and if I felt like it showed too much, you can get a Sharpie and cover it up, like if it's too light in places. Okay, so there we go. There's the first side, all done. Okay, all done. All right, trying to show all the different angles. Okay, now it's time to do the other one. So do the same process again. We're gonna start with the center one and work out from that one. So line it up right with our line we sewed earlier. Stuff, stuff, stuff. Get it all stuffed in there. Put my clips on. All right. Now I got that zipper pulled back out of the way. I don't want to bump it. It will make things not stay flat. All right, here we go. way to the edge. I'm going to feel my teeth, double back tack, and that just gives a little bit extra strength to it by doing that, because that is a stress point on the bag. Okay, first one done. Now to the next one. Same thing again, lining up with that line. Right there. Put my clips on. Make sure it's nice and stuffed in there, tight, tight, tight. And let's sew her up. Starting at the sewn line and working my way up. Oops. Double back tack. Okay. All right. Okay, and one more to go. So far, so good. Looks good. I'm checking them each time. I want to make sure I got it good, because this is the time to fix it if you don't get it. I don't want to have to take my bag apart later to go back and fix something. All right, got it in there. All right, so now I'm going to sew that last part. All the way. Double back tack. Okay. Trimming all my threads. I have a whole bunch of threads on me. Lots of threads on me. Okay, film off my trash can here. All right, so now we've got the flaps on both sides. Just check them, make sure no raw edges. Everything's tucked in there good, and we're set for the next step. Okay, let me get all my trash here off. Clean up my space a little bit. Okay, so now what we're going to do is take the exterior of our bag and we're going to put the fusible fleece on the back of it. So I've already fused mine on. So you take the fusible fleece and one side's bumpy. That's the fusible side, the side that has adhesive. You're going to put bubbles up on the ironing board, then set your fabric down on top of it, wrong side toward the bubbles, and iron it. 12 seconds, wiggle, wiggle. Okay? And we're going to iron it all the way around to get it all nice and fused on there. Okay? Then what we want to do is fold it in half and find the center. Okay, so I'm going to find the center, and I'm just going to put a pin here just to mark it to make it easier. So I found the center on one side. And find the center on the other side. Okay, I got the center marked. Make sure I didn't get it wobbly. Oh, didn't quite get it in the center. Fix that a little bit. Okay, so now I've got the center marked on both sides. You can see I got a pin in there. Okay, set that down. Take my bag, and I'm gonna lay it down, wrong side down against the fusible fleece. So see, there's the exterior, fusible fleece side up. Then my bag that I've been working on, I'm gonna line up that center seam right here that we just did with that pin. Okay, and we're checking our size here. So I'm gonna line this up, and I'm gonna put some clips here just to hold it for a moment. We're gonna clip it better in a moment. Right now I'm just doing a temp hold. Okay, same thing on this side. Line up the center seam with the pin. Put some clips here to hold it temporarily. Where'd all my clips go? Okay, you can use pens too, you don't have to use clips. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna check and see how this extends out. So it should be pretty close, but it may be a little longer. So I'm just lining up my edges here. Put some more clips on. Okay, the other side. All right, line it up. Clip it down. I'm clipping it. I'm going to go back and clip it more in a moment. I just want to see how it's lining up. I just want to make sure this side's lined up really well. Seems like it was kind of scooting on me. Okay. Line that one up. Okay, so I got one side lined up, and you can see how it extends out just a smidge past, and that's okay because we can trim that off, okay? That's okay that that does that. Okay, so same thing on the other side. Line up the sides and put clips on or pins. We're gonna put the bat wings down in just a second. First, we're just getting the sides lined up. Okay. Extend it out, make sure it's all the way. More clips. Okay. And clips have a top and a bottom. So they're flat on the bottom and they're kind of rounded on the top. You want the flat side down toward the exterior, because then it lays flat. Okay. So you can see on this side I got a little bit to trim off as well, but I'm not going to do that yet. I have it just pinned and clipped on both sides, okay? I can take these little center pins out. Those don't matter anymore. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to do the squish, okay? We're going to squish. All right, so we're going to lay this down. Remember I told you about those holes? We were going to take care of them now. So we're going to now push those holes up. We want to get all the layers here lined up as best we can, okay? All the layers lined up, okay? The bat wings are going to lay down here flat too. They will not extend all the way to the end. They're not supposed to. Okay, so we're going to line those up and clip those. Okay, so do the squish, line up the edges. If you're trying to do this without pre-clipping it, then everything's moving around and you're trying and it's just kind of a jumble and a pain. Okay, so go ahead now. Everything clipped. Try to keep your sides lined up, all the layers lined up together on the side. This will help in further construction of the bag. Okay, so as I go to sew this, you can see I've got it all squished, right? And I've got those edges lined up as best I can. It is a little tough right there where those bumps are. So when we go to sew that, we're gonna push them all the same way. So they're all gonna go one way when we go to sew them down. So that way they stay out of the way, okay? So I'm gonna push mine all in toward the machine. So they'll be laying, if I'm sewing down, they're pushed toward the machine, my flaps. That will be actually easier for me to jump onto, okay? So that's what I'm gonna do all of them. Getting a nice, healthy 1/4 inch. Well, actually I wanna go a smidge less than a 1/4 inch, but if you do a straight 1/4, it's fine. Because we're gonna put the binding on next and we can adjust a little bit. Okay, all right, so I'm going to sew down. I'm going to start at the edge of the bat wing. Okay, got my 1/4 inch going on. I'm going to start at the edge of my bat wing. Okay, and I'm doing a scant 1/4 inch because when I do my binding in a moment, I'll do a nice healthy 1/4 inch. And as I come up to the flap, I'm going to slow down. It's going to be thick. Okay, I'm just going to go slow, not be in a hurry. This can be accomplished with any machine. You just got to take your time and don't get in a hurry. Okay, I'm going to still push that next flap the same direction I pushed the previous flap. Okay. Okay, all the way down. Okay, going slow over those bat wings. those little flaps. Okay, all the way. I haven't trimmed anything yet. I'm going to trim it after I get it all tacked down, because things move. Now the nice thing is we're going to sew over this 3 times. So this side's really going to get sewn down. This is the first time across. Then we put the binding on. The first time down, it's 1. And then when you put the binding on the second time, we roll it around the edge. That's the 3rd time. So this is going to be sewn 3 times. So it will be very secure. But I still want to do my best when I go past it and catch everything. So now I'm going to look back at my work and I'm going to make sure I caught it all the way across everything, because that's really important. And I've got everything caught. Okay. It's kind of hard to see because I match my thread so well. Okay. That's sticking out a little bit, but everything is caught, and that's what's important. I'm going to trim it up just a smidge in a moment before we put the binding on, but that's in our next video. Okay. So I've done one side. Now I need to do the second side. Okay. Same thing again. We're going to do the squish. Now this time though, whatever way I push these flaps on this side, I want to push it so they're going the same way on the opposite side. I don't want them going 2 different directions. I want them going both the same direction. Okay. So last time I was going into my thing, this time I'm going to go out from it. Okay. So I'm going to start with the first ones right here toward the center. Get those reclipped where the holes are that we joked about at the beginning. Okay, those are clipped. Now I'm going to come out and do the bat wings, the edges of the bat wings. Goes pretty quick. First time you make this bag is the hardest, and every time it gets a little easier because you kind of learn some how to push everything just right when you're doing the different steps. So, all right, I've got it all squished, and now I'm going to sew it. Okay. Back tack at the start, the edge of my bat wing. Again, I'm just doing a little bit of a scant 1/4 inch, but not super scant really, because like I said, it's all going to get caught. Now I'm pushing them the opposite way this time because I want them to be going the same way as they are on the other side. And I go slow when I come to those, just so that way I don't break a needle, because it is thick. Back tack. There we go. Now I'm going to check it, again, just like I did last time. Make sure I got through all the layers on both sides, and I did. Okay? So everything is caught. This is what it looks like right now. Okay? Now is when I trim this up. Okay, I'm going to trim this up here to make sure that's nice and straight. Get rid of that little bit of excess that's over. Maybe with my scissors, if there's a little funky overhang here, I might trim that just a smidge. But that's all we're going to do in part 2 of our Sew Together Bag Sew Along. So I want to thank you for watching and sewing along with me. I hope you like this style of teaching. If you do, please check out my other videos, and please like this video and share it with your other sewing loving friends. Thanks for watching, and remember, get creative at Nana's. Have a great day.